Imagine, ladies, that you're waking up tomorrow morning. There's coffee waiting for you because your husband has actually gotten up early to make it for you. He looks at you and says, "Good morning." He kisses you on the cheek, not out of habit, but because he wants to. There's a difference in the room. There's no tension in the room. There's no walking on eggshells. There's no analyzing his tone, no anxiety in your chest. And it's just peace. It's just connection. And it's just emotional safety. Now, that version of your marriage is not unrealistic. It is possible. And how do I know? Because I've lived it. But it doesn't happen by hoping or by praying or not taking action. And it doesn't happen by waiting. It does happen by being a different person. It happens when someone interrupts behavioral patterns that have kept us stuck and don't serve us. And if you're watching this and you already did something different, you booked this call, which is a good sign. That tells me that you're not weak, that you're serious about changing your relationship and you're not passive. And it tells me you are done really tolerating emotional scraps. You're done feeling unchosen. You're done being the only one that's initiating connection. You're done living with that emotional distance. You're done feeling like you have a roommate for a partner instead of a husband. Maybe you're high functioning everywhere else in your life, respected at work, capable, strong, the one people lean on. But at home, you feel unseen. You know something's off. Maybe he barely touches you anymore. Maybe he's always tired. Maybe he's always distracted. And he's always just fine. Maybe you're the one initiating every single conversation, every connection, every check-in, and every attempt to rebuild and reconnect. And you're tired. Who wouldn't be? If that's you, this is exactly for you. Please listen. This is not therapy. Before we meet, I need you to understand something clearly. We want to use this time intentionally, and it's not just a venting session. This is a call where we spend 60 minutes dissecting where you and your husband are basically having struggles. Then nothing structurally changes. This is a clarity and a decision call. But before we could dive into a little bit more about me and my process, my name is Sarah. I have a master's degree in behavioral science. Before that, I actually got my degree in occupational therapy. Both of my degrees include psychology coursework. I studied attachment systems, reinforcement patterns, nervous system regulation, and communication breakdown at a structured level. But here's what matters more than just my education. I divorced my husband, and it was me that chose to file. I have sat in lawyers' offices. I have felt the panic. I have felt the pride. I have felt the regret. And I have done the work to rebuild my marriage and build a healthy, loving, functioning, thriving marriage. So when I talk about restoring emotional safety and leadership or interrupting destructive cycles and rebuilding trust in a marriage, I'm not just speaking from theory. I'm speaking from experience and lived behavioral patterns that maybe I didn't want to recognize, but I did. So now I teach women how to avoid financially and emotionally devastating divorces by really breaking the behavioral patterns that keep them stuck. So, a little bit about my methodology. Most women who book this call are intelligent. You've read the books, you've probably listened to many of the podcasts, maybe even done therapy and try to communicate better. But insight does not always change behavioral patterns. Structure changes behavioral patterns, and understanding reinforcement also helps. So, from a behavioral standpoint, your marriage runs on reinforcement loops. You bring something up, maybe he feels criticized, he withdraws. You escalate to be heard and nag, and he shuts down even further. Every repetitive behavioral cycle strengthens the pathways, so time does not weaken it. Avoidance does not weaken it. Space does not weaken it. Only intentional interruption weakens it, meaning doing something differently. So that is what the relationship reset method does. How the relationship reset method works. There are basically 4 steps or pillars that save marriages before they break. If your relationship feels distant, if conversations turn into arguments, if you feel like roommates instead of partners, you aren't alone. And more importantly, you are not broken. In fact, many of the clients that come to me beforehand experience these same feelings. Most couples are trying to fix communication while their nervous systems are overwhelmed, meaning they're walking on eggshells in fight or flight fight, and their confidence is truly shaken and trust is already damaged. That's why advice like just communicate better rarely works, because we want to know what behavioral patterns are keeping you stuck. So, real relationship repair happens in the right order. And that's exactly what the relationship reset method teaches. It's a proven four pillar framework designed to rebuild trust, restore connection, and ultimately create long lasting change without years of therapy. So, let me show you how it works. In 90 days, in 3 months, we focus on four different steps. The first step is emotional stability. You go from reactive to being regulated, meaning you are reactive in fight or flight, or your nervous system is going in all different types of directions. We want to get you regulated. Before we fix communication, we regulate the nervous system, because no relationship heals in chaos. It only heals when it's calm. When people feel anxious, angry, desperate, or overwhelmed, they react instead of respond. And even good conversations turn into conflict. In this pillar, you'll learn how to stop emotional spiraling, control reactions before they escalate, calm anxiety quickly, and respond instead of exploding. When emotional safety returns, connection becomes possible again in any relationship. Step number two is communication that rebuilds desire. So you go from arguing to going to attraction. Most couples talk, but they don't feel heard or connected. They defend every word, they blame each other, they over explain, they shut down, they yell, or they walk away. Or lastly, we sometimes chase emotions. So, this pillar teaches you how to speak in ways that your partner can actually receive, communicate without triggering defensiveness, express needs with calm confidence, and rebuild emotional safety in every conversation. We want to learn how to create attraction through your language, like when you first met, because it's not just what you say with someone, it's how it lands. Step number three is identity and self respect. So, you go from begging and chasing to feeling grounded and confident. When people lose themselves in a relationship, they lose leverage, they lose their confidence, they lose their identity. So they start saying, I'm trying so hard, I'm doing everything. Why don't they choose me? And the truth is, connection grows when self respect returns. In this pillar, you rebuild your confidence, we restore your trust, we set healthy boundaries, and we reclaim personal power, because women at the end of the day are attracted to leadership. When you return to your center, the relationship dynamic begins to shift, because you have calm authority and leadership, and that is what women are attracted to. Pillar number four is about building that trust and that connection, so we can go back to rebuilding your relationship. So you start off as damaged, and then we want to experience a deeper bond in your relationship. So trust isn't rebuilt with empty promises, it's built with accountability and action and patterns and consistency. So whether you're dealing with emotional distance, resentment, conflict, or betrayal, this pillar shows you how to repair emotional injuries, rebuild safety and vulnerability in a relationship, and establish consistent behaviors that rebuild trust and reconnect deeply emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. This is where couples move from surviving to thriving and having a healthy, loving, secure marriage. So, the truth most people don't realize is marriages rarely fail because people don't care. We do care, but they fail because couples try to fix the surface problems first: communication, intimacy, arguments, while the deeper systems underneath are still unstable. So, the relationship reset method restores those systems in the correct order. And when that happens, connection stops feeling forced, starts feeling safe again, and starts feeling natural again. And the relationship begins to feel alive and thrive again. If you're ready, if you want clear structure to rebuild trust and that connection and that emotional safety, not just pieces of advice, this framework is designed for you. Because relationships don't change through hope alone, they take action and accountability. They change when the right patterns are installed and formed. And that's exactly what the relationship reset method helps you do. On our call, we will determine the exact dynamics you are reinforcing unintentionally, where emotional reactivity is costing you influence in your marriage, how attachment patterns are feeding the destructive cycles, and whether you are ready to shift from reacting to leading differently in your marriage. Because the women who leads differently change the marriage dynamic. So who is this for? Because I think this is very important and I want to be direct. This work requires accountability. And if you are coming into this call thinking that I'm going to validate your husband for being 100% wrong in the marriage, this will not work for you. I do not believe in band-aid fixes. If you're willing to examine your side of the pattern in your relationship and shift your approach, change becomes possible. This is for women who take ownership, who value growth, who are action oriented and understand that emotional leadership in a relationship is power, meaning staying calm. This is not for women who want validation without responsibility. Now, let's address something even more honestly. High level transformation requires commitment. This is not just free advice. We're not going to be on the call and it's a free therapy session. This is a structured process, and structured transformation requires time, energy, and financial investment. Divorce is expensive. How do I know? Because mine was $20K. Legal fees are expensive. Custody battles are even more emotionally taxing and expensive. Therapy for children is expensive. Years of an emotional resentment are also expensive. The cost of staying in the same behavioral loops are always higher than the cost of growth. When we get on this call, we are not debating whether your marriage is worth it. We are determining whether you are ready to invest and change into leading your marriage differently. So if you are not financially prepared to invest in real change, this will not be the right fit, and that's okay. But I only work with women who are ready to move and invest in themselves, not women who want to sit in indecision. So when we meet, I ask that you please be in a quiet space. If your husband needs to be on the call, have him there. Have Zoom downloaded. Have a pen and paper. No distractions, no multitasking. If you want serious change in a marriage, you must show up seriously. That means no errands, no driving, fully committed, being in a quiet space with a pen and paper. This is your marriage. This is your family. This is your future. I will give you clarity on the call. You decide if you're ready to act. If you are not, then that's okay. But if you are, we move, we get you started, and I look forward to seeing you on the call and changing your life forever.